Nuno, we want you to stay. That's the first way I think we can talk about this game to start with. Yes, ABW, we are back doing a live show. Don't think this is going to happen all the time, though, people, because there's only so many times we can batter Spurs at home. And I am joined by two, well, what can we say, smug guests, and rightly so. I'm going to introduce Karl first. Karl, how are you feeling? Telling me about your work colleagues.
Oh, I am going to. You know, when you're walking into work and after a football result has gone your way and you don't say nothing, you just smile. And there's always that standoff of who's going to talk first, you or your colleague. I'll be doing all the talking tomorrow. I can assure you of that.
Question is, what are you going to start with? Is it going to be against the Spurs fans or the United fans?
See, I've got to go Spurs first, and I've already lined up emails ready to send. So as soon as they come into work tomorrow, they'll see the email. So, sometimes, digital warfare is best.
Absolutely. And I'm also joined by somebody who, like me, won't be going into any offices tomorrow. Danny, how are you? How are you going to be gloating?
I am. I gloat by not gloating. It's the not gloating that gets them because they're expecting it. They love to give it, and when you don't give it back, they're sitting there. It's like there's a murderer outside with a big combine harvester who's going to knock your walls down and chop you up into little pieces, and you can hear them. You know they're out there, but you don't know when they're going to come, and you can't sleep properly. And it's there's quite a few. There's Lee, dirty scumbag, and then there's who else is the other one? Alex, who I watch on Twitch. Poor Alex. Poor Northern Monkey Alex. We all know them, and I'm not saying a thing to them, and that's what gets them, Josh. How about you?
It's too late. I've already texted my mum. Just going, did Spurs know we kicked off at 4:30? I think that was the best I can do right now. I think that's where we start with as well, because, Karl, what kind of start? I think all of the energy that they must have been powered by the hate of Xhaka starting, because that we were just insane, weren't we? You're muted, Karl.
So off mute.
It's been a while, Karl.
It really has. Do you know what? I tweeted from the pod account that reminded me of the fight yesterday. And Joshua, I do love you, but serves you right for fighting in the Tottenham Stadium. Almost from the first bell, from the first whistle, we were at them. You could tell that. I hate there's little cliches in football or who wanted it more. We definitely did want it more. We definitely, all the 50-50s, we were racing to every loose ball. And I know it's a cliche, but it was brilliant. I mean, Xhaka starting. Was it a surprise? Wasn't it a surprise? I think half of us knew he was going to start, and I think half of us didn't want him to start. We were split between the two. Me, I was in both camps. Maybe I didn't want him to start just because he'd just come back from COVID. He'd been out for 3 games. I thought that Sambi Lokonga didn't really do much to lose his place in the squad. But sometimes you do maybe need, and I can hear Chris Carpenter in the background screaming, like a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Experience, and how he's played in the past. Sometimes you do need Xhaka to come in and. Credit to him today. He played well, but like you said, Josh, from minute one, we were definitely the better team. And you could just definitely tell that Spurs are definitely going through something. Not that I care because I really couldn't, but I think it was rather how well we played rather than how badly Spurs played.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as I say, they didn't really turn up to start, but we didn't let them turn up either. Danny, do you want to talk us through the first goal as well? Because I think that's where we really showed our dominance.
It was just massively quick attacking football, and it was almost. I saw that when they get the ball, normally when we want to do a little bit of attacking and passing, they get the ball and they look around and they go, right, who's around me? All game, it was like they know where the other person is going to be, and the turn. What's it called? Is it a turnaround? Is it just a quick pass? Is there a phrase for what they were doing? Instantly getting the ball, bang, passing it off to somebody else. Is there a word for that apart from magnificent?
Just one touch football.
One touch football. There you go. This is
There
why
you go.
Josh is in charge. Some fantastic one touch football over and over again, all the way through the game, and fantastic build up play from Saka. And then he passes it across to Smith Rowe. And didn't he almost pass it behind Smith Rowe, or was it behind the defender? All I remember is Gary Neville screaming, going, "He's put it behind him!" And then Smith Rowe just gets it and taps it in. And I thought, I waited. I'm still waiting for it to be disallowed. I'm still waiting for all of our goals to be disallowed. And I'm thinking, I was like this, 12 minutes. We can't have scored. We can't have scored already. My God, we're looking fantastic. Something's going to go wrong. Maybe I haven't woken up yet. And then it stayed. And then Smith Rowe did that celebration. And I thought, oh, wow, this could be a good game. And it turns out, Josh, it was quite a good game. Have I missed anything on that build-up? Because I was like an excited kitten. I wasn't quite sure what was going on.
I was shocked as well. Just the dominance we had and the fact that we've seen dominance like that against, Norwich, Birmingham, we just not scored from it. And as you say, the ball went behind Aubameyang, but it was like Saka knew. He knew at that point. Smith Rowe coming in, and Karl, should we just bang straight into the second one? Because it was, just we hit them with a couple of quick punches, really.
Yeah, I don't think they were ready for us whatsoever. I think just touching on the first goal, what made it even better is that it went through Dyer's legs. I can't see. In every single team, there's one player that you really hate. For me, it's Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer is that one I hate the whole Spurs team. Don't get it wrong. I really, really don't like them. But Eric Dyer, for me, is that one that really just... I just want to beat up, and I don't know why. Like, even people say Harry Kane, but whatever. But yeah, the second goal, for me, it was classic Arsenal. Does that make sense? Like, it just reminds me of Arsenal of old, and I wish that we could sort of do that more often. Catch teams unawares, because. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the build-up play for me was just absolutely brilliant. I mean, wasn't it? I want to say it was a turnover from Xhaka. Was that the third goal? No, it was the third goal, wasn't it?
Third goal.
Yeah,
I think so. It was vintage Arsenal.
Yeah, the passing, the moving. Like you said, it was almost a carbon copy of the first goal. Like the one-touch play. For me. We need to see more of that. We need to go into Arsenal games and just see actually more of that.
How come they've only just started doing it now? Where's this come from?
So I hear what you're saying, Danny, but I'm not making excuses. But this is the first time we've had our quote unquote first 11 available. Yeah, and this team is going to be the team that played today. Is definitely going to be our first 11. It's going to be the team. That should kind of see us through to the season. So maybe I'm going to, again, I can see one of Chris Carpenter's in my head turning over. Trusting the process. Like, do you know what? Maybe we should have, all along, we should have trusted the process. But, there's no doubt that Spurs were a poor team. But, this is the first time we've actually had the first team available. We literally have had... a team that they're getting to know each other now. They're just getting to know each other. But anyways, Josh, I'm really sorry. You did ask him about the second goal. So the build-up is Granit Xhaka. They say it was a foul. It wasn't a foul at all. There was no foul in the build-up play. He plays it forward, and I think Aubameyang does a one-touch over to Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe races through, cuts it back to Aubameyang again. Aubameyang just hits it into the bottom corner, and even that wasn't an easy strike because the ball was bobbling up, and he had to sort of break his stride to get to sort of hit the ball first time, which for me, brilliant. It almost reminded me of, remember the 4-2 game last season where he hit the ball first time. No, not last season, season before, and he hit the ball into the net, which was absolutely brilliant. But I don't know. Josh, do you think it was a foul in the build? I mean, obviously taking your Arsenal team's glasses off.
No, I think it was something that was kind of they were looking for. really, more than anything. That's kind of
Gary
what I
Neville
saw
was
it as.
obsessed by it, wasn't he? He kept saying over and over it was a foul.
I mean, Gary Neville's
Gary-
obsessed by Arsenal. We live rent-free in his head. I think he
100%,
was
like-
livid about being there and the fact we were 2-0 up, smashing the
They were
media
so
darling.
disappointed.
I agree with you. The commentary was so biased, like really, really biased. And I know every team may say that, but it almost like even we were 3-0 up and Gary Neville still kept saying, oh, one more goal could change this. I mean, I know Arsenal are bad, but flipping hell, like, and it's almost like I'll put it in the group. Like, as soon as we scored the first goal, both Martin Tyler and Gary Neville just seemed upset.
Yes,
Yeah,
they did. They
they
seemed
just-
upset. Like they were. Oh, we did. This isn't how we want to spend our Sunday afternoon. Watching
100%.
Arsenal playing. What was that phrase you used, Josh? That I couldn't remember. One touch, free flowing,
Yeah.
one touch, attacking, smothering football. Where they couldn't get. They couldn't get anywhere near us, and over again. And like they said in one part, Josh, they said Arsenal have laid a trap, and Spurs have fallen in that trap again, didn't they?
Yeah, we had them on toast all of that first half. It was, I think, the work that Arteta had done, obviously, the training ground. I think a lot of credit has to go to the home fans as well. From our perspective, we could hear it, coming through the TV, the atmosphere that was there. Obviously, we've got a couple of ABW members that were there, and I'm sure we'll try and get Femi on this week as well, just to talk through how the atmosphere actually felt being there in the stadium. But it was all of that kind of driving the team, and it was just, we just ruined them, and it was great. And to be honest, I think we can go into the talking about talking about the third goal, but I think there was an opportunity there where we could have hit them for 6 or 7. And I've just seen a message from Scienvesh that reminds me about another bit of commentary as well, which was, can anyone remember the last time we capitalized when other top 6 teams lost? I remember Gary Neville and Martin Tyler going, well, it's more of a top 4 now. These teams aren't in the top 6 anymore. And we're going, well, one of us isn't. We'll put it that way.
They said 2 of the top 6 have dropped out. It's more like a top 4. I thought Spurs have never been in top 6. Everton aren't even playing today.
Of all of that, you know what makes me laugh? The top 6 was made up by Sky.
Yeah.
When Liverpool and Man United dropped out of the top 4. So all of a sudden now Liverpool and Manchester United are firmly in the top 4 because they are. Like, all of a sudden now it's a top 4 rather than the top 6. It just, the biasness is just absolutely ridiculous. And
it should be. When we were out there, it was the big 6, the big 4, and now it's just the top 4 because we all know Man City aren't a big club, and Chelsea, well, they're just a club in flux at the moment.
Yeah, Chelsea and Man City don't really count, do they?
No.
So it's just, is it maybe Liverpool? But then Liverpool haven't been a proper club for ages. So maybe it's just us and Man United. It's just the top 2.
I think if you ask people from around the world, that's what people would probably say, because that's true. Historically, financially, stadium-wise, Premier League-wise, there's only 2 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can go, Danny, into the third goal as well. So this is Saka's goal.
I don't remember it. I was too busy.
the Kane assist.
The Kane assist.
So
I want that on a t-shirt.
It has to be. So what did he do? Harry Kane lost it on the edge of his box, and it was recovered, and we played it forward brilliantly. And what made me laugh is that Harry Kane tried his best to get back, couldn't get back. He tried to do a slide tackle where, if he had taken Saka out, it would have been a penalty, 100%. So he played it forward, and Saka just carried on running and hit the ball sort of out of reach of Lloris and couldn't do it. It's what is even better is the Kane assist, because it has to go there. I mean, obviously he won't get credit with the assist, but it is funny. It is absolutely hilarious that without his intervention, Saka would not have been in the position to have a shot. No way. So it is, almost karma, because the amount of times that they went on about, Harry Kane has got so many goals in the North London derby, top North London derby scorer, blah, 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 blah. It's poetic justice, I believe they call it.
Yeah, I think especially as we miss the fact that Kane turned it over in the first instance, got all the way back, and then just to assist Saka as well. It's just absolute poetry. And I think, just as soon as we've done that, I was like, this could be 4 or 5, because Spurs were just not there at all. And then I suppose we go into the second half, which...
It was good to see that we didn't take... I hate using football cliches, but we didn't not take your foot off the accelerator. Didn't stop playing the way we were playing. I don't like cliches. That we carried on doing it, carried on forcing the play, attacking, breaking up play. That Tomiyasu was fantastic. At no point in this game did I think, when Ramsdale, the ball went near Ramsdale, and Charlotte's mum was here. She just brought us over McDonald's, and she said, "Well, why are we doing so well?" I said, "Little things like when Leno plays, when we play it out from the back, they have to get about 6 foot away from Leno. Any further than that, he can't do it. Ramsdale is getting it, and they're a third of the way up the pitch, and he's doing pinpoint passes to them. And then when people are attacking him, I'm not worrying, thinking, oh God, we're going to have a nightmare here. Someone's going to mess this up. The Seaside Mustafi was brilliant, bringing the ball out of midfield. I was watching the pivot in midfield of Xhaka and Partey. Did I say Thomas? That's what I'm on the back of his shirt. Just those two, trying to figure out what role they were doing, Josh. But they were both doing the same job, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point on. It's a great point on Ben White as well, because I forgot I've got to stand him at all times. Ex-Brighton, I've got to big him up. I think that tackle in the first 5 minutes where he just comes clean through. I think it's on Kane. It might be on Son. Completely wipes them out, wins the ball, gets up, plays a decent pass, and we just started going from there. And I think Avon has made a great point. We must mention Martin Odegaard as well, and that performance in the first half.
Brilliant.
There just seems to be something about him and Smith Rowe together, just them moving in tandem was just superb. And Karl,
do you think it's because... do you think with them two playing, do you think oppositions don't know who to pick up? Because of the movement so far, they think, okay, should we go to Odegaard? And then you've got Smith Rowe running in. And then they think, should we go to Smith Rowe? And you've got Odegaard and his movement and his ball, the skills that he can do. So it's really hard for the opposition players to think about who to play out, who to step out of position. So if you've got a centre-back that's going to push up a little bit, and then you're thinking, okay, if I push up, the rest are going to push up. But then you've got Smith Rowe that's going to just drag your other centre-back out of position. So that leaves a lot of space in behind.
Yeah, and you have, because Tierney's obviously always going to be coming up the left flank, Smith Rowe can drop into number 10, means Odegaard can just float around, do what he was doing in that first half, and say pressing people, getting the ball, just laying simple passes, playing technical passes as well. It was just great movement from everybody, and I think because they were so hung up on Saka as well as they would be, it was just amazing just to see that kind of interplay. And as we'll probably mention, and we'll look back to this game, I think many times this season, I'm going, where is this Arsenal that we've seen in this game? Why haven't we seen them in other games?
Look at this from K-Man. See the way Arteta was celebrating. Every single one of our players not only seemed on there having a fantastic day, but they all got it. Well, meanwhile, some of the Spurs players, Harry Kane especially, couldn't be bothered. Did you see that stat partway through the game? The least number of touches, Harry Kane had 2 after maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And like K-Man says, you could just see every single one of them was up for it. If this feels like you've just been to the best party you've been to in years, and we're going to come down with a bump, and I'm not looking forward to that, Josh.
But do you think that because Arteta has played in the North London derby, he's drummed it into their players? I mean, Nuno obviously, just come from Wolves, and I'm not saying he doesn't get it, because obviously he's the manager of Tottenham, so he knows that he has to win against Arsenal. But Arteta's played it, he's lived it, so he's drummed it into sort of the players, what it means to the fans, and that was obviously all these new players that have come into the squad. Probably all week is probably saying, "Look, this is probably going to be the biggest game of the season. Tottenham home." I mean, like Danny, you always say you look for 2 games at the start of the season: Tottenham home and Tottenham away. Like me, it's the Tottenham games and the Man United games. Those are the games that I look for straight away, because those are the teams I grew up hating. Tottenham and Man United. So, hopefully that Arteta would have drummed it into the players to how much this actually means. Not just the result, not just to the club, but also the fans as well. Because I'm not going to be negative, but if we didn't have a positive result today, what position or what situation would we have been in. But I'm happy that we did get the correct result today.
Yeah, and it's just mentioned as well as Arteta knowing about it. And I think it's one thing we need to push in, because it's one of those things that it almost goes overlooked, is the fact of we do have Arsenal DNA throughout the club as well. Edu's played in North London derbies. Mertesack's played in North London derbies. There's plenty of people around the training ground that can drum into these players what it means to play in a North London derby. And that's what we saw. I think the energy from there, the energy from the crowd, it was just too much for them. And you could see that in the first, second half, Spurs have to make 2 changes. Smith Rowe's completely destroyed Tanganga after he's come back from the thing. And old Deli Belly has been subbed off as well.
It was hilarious seeing him being so shit. But like Rudy Rastos here says, I never get his name right, just Rudy. He says, if this is Arteta ball, then I need more of it. Is this Arteta ball? Is this the plan? Is this what he wants? Is this what we're going to see more of?
I hope
hopefully. Me and Josh are the same. I definitely hope so. And again, as well, Josh, don't you think that, we've mentioned this already, it really does make a difference, the fact that we have our full squad fit and available. It's not going to happen every single game this season. It can't happen, and that's understandable. But it does make a difference, Josh, don't you think, that having our full squad available and also fit?
Yeah, it was huge. I think it was when we were talking, before the game, in terms of pods leading up to this and WhatsApp groups, was if Xhaka does come into the midfield, it's not too bad, but you know what? We'd be happy with Sambi. He's not the only option to be coming into that midfield. Sambi, we'd happy if he played there. Some people might be happy if Smith Rowe played there. Maitland-Niles, another option as well. I think that's the big thing that we kind of seen is just, we're happy to see players, any of these players come in. And I think that's the big thing that we've seen is just, as you say, Pepe didn't play today, but we didn't miss him, to be honest. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way. That I know, Pepe won't play every game, and I think he should. And great shout from Joshua Page as well.
Like this.
Sorry?
Because his head drops really quickly. If things don't start going his way, then he doesn't look like he can be easily bullied out of the game. And we didn't need that today. We needed people that are full of passion. And I thought that this isn't the kind of game. If the pressure's on, Pepe doesn't do it. And these lot would have just spent the entire game kicking him.
I think what we wanted was basically 3 diminutive playmakers in behind Aubameyang, because we just screw Spurs around. We know they want to be very rigid. Nuno managed to win 2 games, one of them very fortunately against us last season for Wolves. I think it might be something to do with the referee. No, I'm talking about Wolves last season when they beat us with it was David Luiz red card was one of those games.
Oh, the glory days.
The glory days of, when we had players we couldn't count on. I think that was one of the things that we just kind of seen from here was that he knew what we needed to do. They were kind of probably expecting Pepe to play, let's just get players who are just going to be going everywhere. They can't do any of that man marking. Tomiyasu, as we say, was incredible going forward and defensively. Until they brought on Gil in the second half and moved Son away from Tomiyasu, Son did nothing for Spurs at all because Tomiyasu just had him pocketed.
And his partnership with Saka would look like they've been playing together forever. Not so much down with Smith Rowe and Tierney. I still think Tierney's slightly off of his game. But the way that they were doing the one touch and then passing and then setting each other up, playing it back in again, and everybody knew where to go. And we didn't rely on endless crosses to nowhere. There were lots of drag backs, put back into the box. In fact, walk into the box. I honestly thought at some point we were going to get a penalty. But look at this quote from Rudy, Rudy's put in from ESR.
Yeah, so from Smith Rowe, it's probably the best day of my life. I've always dreamt of this day to score for Arsenal against Tottenham. My family are here as well. It's just the best feeling ever. And I think that's what we kind of want to hear as well in terms of from the players that have come through. Smith Rowe has said that over the summer that he needed to add goals to his game as well, and I think adding them against Spurs, we're going to be more than happy because that's going to write you into the at least cult hero status. And if you keep doing it, you'll eventually land as a legend. And Karl, what did you think of the second half as well? Because it seemed like we weathered a storm for most of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can talk about the Kane penalty now. I mean, again, without my Arsenal tinted glasses on, it was a penalty. As Danny calls him, the seaside Mustafi kind of went in on Kane.
That's not mine.
I can't claim that. But you call him that, so I'm saying that it is you. But it was a penalty because if that was at the other end, I would be screaming blue murder. Unfortunately, he missed the ball. He did get the man, and it was in the box. So, if I'm honest, I don't know how. I'm really shocked that VAR did not look at that and overturn it. And then was really funny that we went at the other end and. We almost could have had a penalty ourselves. It's just the way the game went. And sometimes you need the luck of the green. You need, today went for us a penalty VAR appeal. Next game, it probably won't. You know what I mean? I'm a true believer of these things even out throughout the season. Unless you're Manchester United, where you get loads and loads of penalties. But, the second half, I think in the beginning of the first half of the second half, we played well. You would have thought that Tottenham would have come out and sort of put up a little bit more of a fight, and they didn't. They were still allowing us to run out there. They were still allowing us to do our free-flowing, one-touch football, and there wasn't any threat at all. And like you said, until Gil came on, Son wasn't a threat, and Son was one of the people that I think I suppose a Tottenham player. I do think is a very good player, but he wasn't threatening us at all. Tomiyasu had him like literally in his pocket the whole game, like you mentioned, Josh. But I think as the half went on, I think Tottenham did start to grow into the game because they did put another man in midfield or sort of a defensive-minded midfielder in midfield, and that's what sort of they kind of controlled that little midfield, but just for a little bit of the game, and because we couldn't attack much more. We kept getting we kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and it kind of allowed Tottenham to come onto us. And unfortunately, we conceded the one goal, and it's one of these things. But shout out to Ramsdale as well, because Ramsdale made two really good saves. The one from Lucas Moura where he tipped it onto the crossbar. And that was brilliant. And I hate thinking this, but in my mind, I thought to myself, if Leno was in goal, do we concede that? And I hate thinking like that. I really do, because I shouldn't really, always be comparing it away,
wouldn't he?
Yeah, but I was, I didn't like to think that. But I genuinely think if Leno's in goal, that's a goal. We concede that. And there was another save from Kane where he got down to his, I think to his left-hand side, and Tomiyasu kicked it away for a corner. And, Ramsdale, everyone had their, including myself, had their sort of feelings about Ramsdale signing him. But, 4 games he's played, isn't he? 1 goal conceded. Can't complain at all, can you?
No, absolutely not. And I think there's another player that we haven't yet given enough credit to as well. And that was our striker, Aubameyang, because I don't know, Danny, would you say that looks like he's almost recovered from the malaria, COVID, everything that he's had going on, over the last couple of seasons since he signed that contract, really? And he looked like the old Aubameyang today.
I think there's a few things you've got to take into consideration. The fact that we are playing slightly different football. A lot of it is that he's not playing out on the left and trying to play with another striker in the middle. That obviously wasn't working. That's not his game. And then I think the other really important thing is his illness and the COVID. And he's had, oh dear, coffee gives me the hiccups. He's had no end of bad luck with injuries and illnesses and other things like that. But he does look like it. And I think the other really important thing is we weren't creating chances last season. We saw against Norwich where we created, 30 chances. And I said on the show after that, we've got the defence in place. We've now got the creative midfield with Odegaard coming in. Who I know people were brilliant today. I'd give my man of the match to Odegaard because he was pulling the strings for 90 minutes, 95 minutes, and then so now you're supplying him. Feed the goat, and the goat will score. Although it's not Sean Goater, but you know what I mean. I think that's the really. Is there anything I've missed, Josh?
No, I don't think so. And I'd say just to Karl, I'd ask him, would you give the man of the match to Aubameyang purely for the homage to the Henri celebration?
Because he's in the crowd.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? And he knew he was in the crowd, and I love that. And that's the sort of stuff I want to see. I want to see Aubameyang smile. I want to see those teeth. It was brilliant. But I understand what Danny's saying, but I do think Emile Smith-Rowe did deserve the man of the match today, just because he was pulling players left, right, and centre. And we've got to remember that as Emile Smith-Rowe is only, 20, 21? He's young and he's got his career ahead of him, and hopefully he's only going to get better with Arsenal. I feel that, like Josh mentioned, and like he can form, I think, a really good partnership with Odegaard. You don't really see like two attacking midfielders forming a partnership anywhere. It's normally over one box to box and one attacker, or you never really see two attacking players forming a really good partnership unless they're strikers. And I think that in time to come, those two can really form a great partnership and get us up the table and get us winning games.
Yeah, and I think we could probably talk about the goal we conceded, but I think more we'll talk about something that happened in the build-up with Partey tackling Lucas Moura and Moura going into Xhaka's knee and him subsequently having to go off because of that. What did you feel of Xhaka's performance, Danny? Because obviously he came in for a lot of criticism when he was starting, but then doesn't he always?
As usual, I mentioned Drew, who used to be part of ABW. He's a wonderful blogger. He knows so much about football. And I tweeted yesterday that I'm not sure Xhaka should just come straight back into a winning team. And he said, but when Xhaka plays with Partey, he's a really good player. And I thought I'll just reply to Drew, you're right, because he is. Because when you've got Xhaka in midfield, he's having to get the ball from the defenders, pass it around, break up play, and then bring forward. Much like when Sanchez was with us. Sanchez used to go and get the ball off the goalkeeper and then try and do it all himself because there was no one else to do it for him, because all of our best players like Ramsey and Santi are always injured. But then when you've got Xhaka playing in the middle next to Partey, it's like having two parents rather than one. They both share the load of washing up and taking the dog for a walk and cleaning up sick. They both do it. And I was watching that because, when you go to a game, you don't watch the camera angle, you watch other stuff that's going on. So I spent quite a bit of the first half looking at people's positions and where they were going and what they were doing. And they were both doing the same job. They were both going and getting the ball. They were both breaking up play. They were both passing it off. I mean, I don't think that Xhaka can do from his own half, a ball half the length of the field to the pinpoint in front of Aubameyang as he's running at goal. I don't think he's quite of that level. So then you see there that when it comes to the more detailed, intricate passing, that's the bit that Partey. Because he's got Thomas on his shirt, and I'm going to say Partey, so I'm going to. Thomas Partey, that's the easier way to do it. It's just brilliant. And then it just takes the load off. And when you take the pressure off of him to have to do everything, he can concentrate on doing other things better. And that's what he did. And when I saw that when he landed, I thought, how's he gone down? Why is Moura leaning on him? And then you saw the replay and you went, you could run Xhaka over with a tank and he'd get up and go, but a mere flesh wound. You look at that, and if Xhaka's down, something bad has happened. But I thought the partnership between those two in midfield, like Drew said it was going to be, was really, really good. You got experience as well. And it's just it was a joy to see it most of the game.
Yeah, and I think that was the kind of performance that we'd like to see from Granit Xhaka, because we know we've got it in his locker. And shout to the chat box who's there at the moment. Let us know who you think man of the match should have been from that game as well, because I think I've seen a few suggestions in there. I've seen Odegaard, ESR. I haven't seen anything for Saka yet, but I just wonder. I saw one for Tomiyasu as well, which I think is a great shout.
He was brilliant today, and I think it's so good how he's a natural. He's just come straight into the squad, and you think they can play in the squad for ages. Even the partnership between him and Ben White is really, really getting better and really growing. I think today it showed almost 20 million was almost a steal for him, because he's going to be a player that, you know, I'm not going to besmirch Bellerin's name, because Bellerin did well for us, but you know, he had his injury and he didn't come back the same. You know, there's no doubt Bellerin didn't come back the same, but he looks at present right now an upgrade on Bellerin, which is what we needed. You know, it's all about having pieces of a jigsaw puzzle and trying to fit them in. And it seems like Tomiyasu has slot into that right back swap. Absolutely brilliant today, and hopefully, you know, he can kick on from this and, you know, lead us. Like I keep saying, like, lead us into more wins, into like more games. There's going to be tougher tests. You know, we've got to be honest. Tottenham wasn't at their best today, and you know, we beat them quite easily, I would say. But tougher tests will come. You know, there's going to be a game when he's going to have to play against Ronaldo when we play Manchester United. There's going to be another time where he is going to have to play Man City again, or tricky little wingers against Aston Villa when we play them, and also when we play Brighton next week, you know, which we'll talk about probably on the pod later, but sorry, in the week. But, you know, there's different games where he's going to have to adjust his game as well. And at the moment, he just looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I saw from Simon Collins was when we were talking about right backs of Arsenal yesteryear, he's drawn comparisons with Bakary Sagna to Tomiyasu and his performances. I think that's right there, just a dependable right back. I think he didn't do anything outstanding today, but he was solid and he kept his man from doing anything. I think in terms of what we can talk about the rest of the game as well, the rest of that second half, we saw, you know, everybody going down with cramp. Saw Sambi come on, saw Nuno, Tavares come on, and Maitland-Niles as well. And Danny, how did you feel seeing those players coming on? You know, kind of shutting up shop, giving some young players experiences of the North London derby.
It's really good to see that. I mean, Lokonga was coming on already. He was really warming up, so we knew Xhaka was going to come off. He's been out for the last 3 games, and he'd had a good game. And sometimes, you know, you just got to pull out while you're ahead. Otherwise, you don't want to ruin it. But I was hoping that Xhaka would maybe go and clatter someone, like go and put an elbow in Kane's face, or stand or break Son or something like that, just to top the North London derby off even better. Saka,
well, he did, didn't he? Like he dragged someone down, and I was like, flipping
it was Xhaka. He caught Ndombele in the face with a palm, which I think was just before.
They kept falling down though, didn't they?
Yeah.
And you see the replay, like I think it was what was it? Reguilón? I think it might have been him, where one of our players had put there. I think it was Tomiyasu put his hand into his chest as he was running, and they grabbed his face and said his head had come off or some bullshit. But yeah, with the best of the subs, Maitland-Niles, so glad to see that Maitland-Niles has settled down, and he's going to be part of the Arsenal team going forward, because he's one of the original Halen boys that has come through. Him and Willock, and they've been playing for Arsenal now for 3 or 4 years until Willock left, and he's one of the ones that the others will probably look up to and go, well, look, it's working, and he's so dependable, and he can play almost in any position other than in goal. I reckon he could do all of them. And then seeing Tavares come on was good, because going to get a few minutes, like you said, a taste in the North London derby, and they got stuck in straight away, which is also nice to see. That they must have been a little bit done up for the excited. Riled up is the word I'm looking for this game, where they could see all the flying tackles were going in, and it's getting a bit scrappy near the end. And now they're going to go, oh, come on, let me get on there. I want to go and hurt someone and get away with it. But it's just the players that we took off were replaced by players that you're not thinking, oh no, here we go, we're bringing on some muppet that is going to let us down and could cause the game to go. I never thought they were going to come back even at 3-1. I thought, no, they're not going to go anywhere from here. But just good man management again from Arteta. I think he needs to take a lot of credit today from the lineup that he's done, and that he didn't say to them like Emery used to, 1-0, shut up shop, no more. He didn't. He said, keep going. And we could have, I mean, looking at the shots here, we had 12, and if I drop that down, 7 on target. That's just, and we only had 46% possession. Fantastic. We didn't even have the highest pass success rate. Ours was 82, theirs was 85. So just so many fantastic things from this today. Makes me happy, Josh.
Yeah, I think we're all absolutely ecstatic because we haven't seen a performance like that since, I would probably say, the cup final, maybe. It's probably since then to see that kind of, kind of exciting football from us.
I meant quit while you're ahead, not pull out while you're ahead. And just thoughts of John Welsh all over again.
Oh, Danny.
John's getting drunk somewhere. Bless him.
He is indeed. Should we go into questions as well from the chat bot?
Yes, if you lot put in there and put a queue, then I shall cut and paste them in there. Are you asking the questions, Karl?
Oh, okay.
Josh he's hosting and I'm pressing buttons. Badly.
Correct. Joshua Page, and this is going to go to his namesake, Joshua. It says, who's going to be the Dele Alli of all or nothing for us?
Oh, I don't hate any of our players right now. So I can't think of anybody. I don't even hate Kolasinac anymore. The worm has turned. There's no one in this squad that I think, oh, I hate you. Even Xhaka couldn't stop that from me right now.
You're full of love.
Yeah, I'm full of love for everybody. So I don't think anybody could be the Dele Alli of all or nothing for us. I think we might have a Danny Rose. I'd like to see Kolasinac asking if AC Milan are in for him again.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh, I didn't put our things up, did I? In the settings. We've all probably gone and put something. Where is it? It's in brand. Hold on. What have we put? Hey, Carl's got North London in his red. I've got Forever in Our Shadows, and Josh has got Josh. You've let us down, Josh.
Ever the
YouTube's just gone blank. Or was it me?
Still says live. It's probably you, Karl. Probably your dodgy internet.
Oh yeah, my YouTube stopped as well. Just refresh the page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Danny
Don't accuse me of stuff. We've all been nice to each other today. We're going to end this by saying we've all got to say something nice to Chris Bud at the end of the show. So,
Danny, why the fuck have you got a Christmas mug?
Because it's fucking huge and you get 2 Tassimo coffees in it, and I like it. It's nearly Christmas, Josh.
Shut up. Anyway, Danny, this question is for you from Avon Ted. This is a question for Danny. How are you performing against your prediction spreadsheet?
Shut up, Avon, you big minge. Does anybody want to see my predictions thing?
Oh, go on, then.
I'm not going to take it down because it's embarrassing. But sometimes we live to be embarrassed. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go share screen, and then hopefully not open the wrong one. There we go, with all my flag wankery in there. I put Arteta fired after 10 games. But I said we'd draw with Brentford and lose to Man City and Chelsea. Well, I was only 1 point out there. Said we beat Norwich, we did, but draw against Burnley when we beat them and lose against Spurs. So I'm not a million miles out, am I? But I'm glad to be. Shut up! I'm glad to be wrong, Karl.
Me too, Danny. Me too. I'm happy that you're wrong as well because, Josh, question for you, just off the cuff. Do you think that the feel-good factor is back with Arsenal?
Until next week. Until next week.
We'll fucking do it.
No. I think there is a strong, good feeling here, and I think, it's all kind of positive vibes. This isn't just what we've got a new man in. This is a team that we can all get behind. You see how pumped the Emirates was. You can see the type of football that we're able to play, and I think it's just got to be that we've got to try and get more of this exciting football out into the open and see it on the pitch, really. That's the huge one for me. So I think this feel-good factor can do us for another couple of games. I think it could be the start of a good run.
Don't jinx it. We got a quote there, Josh.
Got another quote from Rudy Rastos in our reporter on Twitter for Arteta on Aubameyang. I'm really happy with the performance today, the performance against Burnley and what he is doing. When he is getting criticised and we ask him to do more, he always puts his head down. I mean, he's certainly one for putting his head down when things aren't going right.
Don't ruin it.
I tried not to. Sorry, back to you, Karl.
All right. This question is from Peter Colson, and I will have Danny. You can do this one. We started with 4 summer signings and ended with all 6 who looked excellent. Can we actually applaud Edu and staff for a job well done?
Yeah, because we've done deals like Willock out for 25 million and Odegaard in for 30 something. So Odegaard is much more than a 10 million pound, 8 or 7 million pound better player than Willock. That's a magnificent deal. And we all bitched and moaned, and I was as guilty as anybody. Why haven't we bought anyone yet? Well, because at the beginning of the transfer window, Real Madrid wanted, 60 million for Odegaard? And as the pre-season went on with Real Madrid, and we saw the penalty taking thing with Real Madrid, where they were all cheering each other's penalties, and then Odegaard scored his, and there was silence. I think there might be some skullduggery with the audio going on with that. But then you could just see, and then that things were not working out at Real Madrid. The reason why Odegaard signed for Real Madrid is because Zidane was his hero as a young man growing up in Norway, and his family went and met Real Madrid, and Zidane said, "Come and sign for us." So he did, and then Zidane's gone. And then you got the new, is it Ancelotti is the new Real Madrid manager? Yeah, so not exactly known for his love of quality passing and all that kind of stuff from midfield from that kind of player. So I mean, he's probably going to win the league this season because all the rest are rubbish. But just doing little deals like that, this is why none of us run a club, Karl, because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about or what we're doing. we'd have gone and paid. They'd have gone in the olden days. They'd have gone, how much is Odegaard? 60. We'll give you 80.
We'll just get it done.
Yeah, Rouse and Nelly would have offered them 80 and they'd have got 40. 40 would have gone missing, allegedly, apparently. And then I was moaning about Ramsdale because I wanted it to go in the order of attacking midfielder, right back, maybe a central midfielder, and then a goalkeeper. He did it in the wrong order, but they did it they got it done in the end. And Tomiyasu, I'd never even heard of him. I mean, I love to have a Japanese player at the club because I like Japan. I think it's a very nice place. I watch it a lot on Twitch. And then, so in the end, it all got done, Karl. All we needed to do was #patience.
As always, but as you know, this is Arsenal and Arsenal fans are not really known for their patience, are they?
We are now. We're all patient. It's been worth the wait, and everything's good again. We're on the up, Karl.
Let's see if after we play Brighton on Saturday, we still got enough patience. Which our Josh will be at that game. Josh, you got split loyalties. Who are you cheering for, Arsenal or Brighton?
I will cheer when Arsenal score and moan at Arsenal when they concede. I'll put it that way.
How's it going to go, do you think? Being you've got your foot in both camps, giving it a wiggle.
I've only ever seen Arsenal lose at the Amex. Let's put it that way.
Piss off.
But I mean, I've already broken my duck because I'd never seen Brighton lose at the Amex for 48 games. I'd been there, but then they lost to Everton, so that's already broken. So, yeah, bring on the loss for the Brighton. I'm very happy to see a loss, and I will hopefully, I'll see one of our most mysterious member of ABW potentially at that game.
Mystery Jeff.
He will be there.
We got a new. How would you say that? New Dran? Been listening to your podcast for a while. Nice to see the faces behind the voices. Keep up the good job, guys. Someone said to me when they saw pictures of me, and then when they spoke to me, they went, "That's not your voice." And like Sean says, I sound like a gay with a cold, but I look like a monster. So it's very misleading. People, you would not think this voice matches this manly physique, would you?
I think it would. Now you got a, kind of a softly shaved head, and you got a nice glow on you as well. You get straight to revenge with you.
It's the Arsenal win. Like, I had Arsenal win, he would have been like firing brimstone all over his face.
No, we wouldn't be here, Karl, if we haven't won. Because we're glory hunters. We've only turned up if we won.
We would have been here if we'd lost as well.
Oh, we would have been here.
It was only a draw. Yeah. It was
only we would have 6 million viewers. Right, last 2 questions quickly. Avon Ted, I should say, and this is for Josh quickly. Should we stick with 4-2-3-1? Sorry.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should stick with that. I don't see any reason not to. I think maybe we kind of see some interchanging with, in games where maybe Partey is just the only holding one. We don't need to necessarily play Xhaka, and we see Pepe coming in for Xhaka, and see kind of a line of 4 ahead of Partey instead. That could be another option for us. But I think, if this is what Arteta ball is going to be, then by all means, let's stick with it.
I mean, I saw a quote in the comments on Twitter, and I'm trying to find it. Someone said that Arteta on Xhaka's injury, he said that it doesn't look like it's a good one or early on. So he could be out for a little bit of time. You could probably rule him out of the Brighton game, if we're really honest. That's it. Really Rasmus said it, so I just found it. He said, unfortunately, he got injured, and I'm pretty worried because it doesn't look very positive at the moment. So, without even a scan or anything like that, if a manager comes out straight away and says it doesn't look good, it's, you can normally tell. So I'm assuming that for the Brighton game, you're going to have sort of Lokonga come straight back into the squad to replace Granit Xhaka. But, it's part of the cause. Like I said, we're not always going to have our first 11 available. And this is the reason why football is a squad game. It's the reason why we have more than 11 players on the football pitch. So, we do wish Xhaka a speedy recovery, and we do want him back, and hopefully he can come back and, play as well as he did today.
Look what Naz has put, Karl. Naz has got Chris summed up.
I will say I sent the link for this show to 3 members of ABW. Danny, Karl obviously joined, and yes, the other one was Chris. They all had an opportunity to be on this show today, and you can see where people's loyalties lay.
And for those,
it would have been.
Go on, Karl.
Sorry on that. No, I was going to say it would have been an emergency podcast too if we had lost today.
Boogaloo.
For those at home on the toilet and in the bath, Naz Osman has put, if we would have lost, Chris would have been here. Yes, Naz, you smell what Chris is cooking.
There
we go. Cyan Veg. Did you guys get time to eat sandwiches? Does anyone know what that's from? It's Lee Gunner complaining that he works 24/7. He doesn't even take time to eat a manky sandwich.
You know what? You know what I did? Was I ate my dinner while the game was going on. So you can multitask if you've got the brain capacity.
Which obviously some Arsenal fans are lacking. But,
yes, absolutely.
Will remain nameless. Last question, and this is from Brent Bummenberg. Ramsdale, is it the last we've seen of Leno?
Oh, I think so.
Leeds. In the League Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he'll play League Cup, and depending on who we get in the FA Cup as well, there's that as well. But, it did make me laugh that the German manager was in the stands today, and Leno was the only German football player in both squads. So I think he just came to watch the North London derby, to be honest, because obviously he's going to have a word. So go on, Danny.
No, you were breathing. You do what Josh does. You breathe between words. I don't breathe. I was going to say, Leno can't go in January, even if he's not number one in him, which he's obviously not number one, because we don't. Oh God, bloody hiccups! Because the only backup goalkeepers we got Hein, who's pretty decent, and we got Arthur, who's shown he's not good enough. And Gunnar Gunnarsson has buggered off to Belgium on loan. And so do you think we'd have to get another goalkeeper in? Because Leno isn't going to be happy to stay on the bench and be back up to Ramsdale. I know it's good to have goalkeepers competing, but Ramsdale's come in. He's put his beach down on the towel. No, his towel down on the beach. He's put a load of sand on his towel and gone, no, yeah, I am number one.
I think I think if there was a competition at the end of this season, so obviously the World Cup is going to be next year, but I think if there was a competition this season, then Leno would definitely be pushing for a move in January, because there's a reason. There must be a reason why the German manager come to see Leno. There has to be. I'm sure there must be a
player on the pitch.
Exactly. So there has to be a word. So he must be saying, "Look, you need to start playing games."
Yeah, he was at the Brentford game, wasn't he, the week before? Maybe he's just taken in football because he's bored. I mean, what do national team managers actually do
Pick their nose.
When there's no international break, what do you just do? You just go around and watch good football games, don't you? And obviously, went down to Brentford, to see them play Liverpool. He's been at some decent games, to be fair. I think maybe he should turn up every week if we're going to play like that.
But I guess that there must be a reason why he's come to see Leno, and Leno's not starting. So surely, he met him after the game, because not just going to come and just leave. He's going to see him after the game and say, look,
let's have sausage.
You need to start playing. Neuer's not going to be, around. Just Neuer, probably the World Cup will be his last competition, to be honest. So,
and then you've got Ter Stegen ahead of him as well. So maybe actually this was a perfect thing for Hansi Flick to watch, was Leno sitting on the bench and seeing how he performed, because that's what he'll be doing for Germany, the national team.
Another question there for you, Karl, from Naz.
From Naz Osman, and he says, Kieran Tierney seems to be struggling at the end. Does that seem to trouble you, Josh? This is like the second. So he went down today, but that was with cramp. I can probably say, maybe a gamesmanship. But he came off during the game against Burnley, didn't he? I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is slightly worrying. I think, for me, to be honest, KT needs to maybe have a bit of a rest anyway. He has looked jaded, I think, since the start of the season. So, yeah, I think now that we've got a decent backup in Tavares to play, I think that's one option we've got there. Obviously, slipping into a back three style, especially when we've got Smith Rowe, who's going to cut inside and give the space to a fullback that wants to go forward. I think it's certainly an option there. And yeah, the more we progress in all competitions that we're in, the more chances we've got for Tierney to get rests. And obviously, he's not going to be playing every week now. So I think there's certainly some opportunities there for Tierney to, if he needs time out, to get it, and rather than it being forced through injury, that we can kind of, not play him through the pain in that regard. But I did want to just add something on Leno as well, that Leno's on his last year of his contract as well. So if he did go in January, we'll get a fee for him, and that's not necessarily a problem. Yeah, that's not a problem I don't think, for us. So we're going to have to look for a backup anyway in the next.
Can we still sign Onana? Carlito
What's
says
his name? We could do. I don't think he left Ajax in the end, because I think he was too busy demanding stuff, and I think Onana would come in and demand some game time so we could get ready for the Cup of Nations.
True.
I mean, it's depending on how badly Ajax want to get rid of him. If we do sell Leno in the January transfer window, and even if we got 12, maybe 15 million for him, if we reinvested that back in Onana, obviously it's pointless, because, like you said, he'd be gone for the African Cup of Nations. But would it be healthy competition to have Onana and Ramsdale? Because you're going to know that one of those is going to be upset that they're not starting. Like I said, you don't pay 24 million to put Ramsdale on the bench, and Onana's definitely not coming in to be anybody's backup. So, is that good, healthy competition, or do we need a goalkeeper who, when we buy them, we literally say to them, you are going to be number one? Doesn't mean you're not going to get opportunities, but, we have an established number one, which is Ramsdale, but you have to play your way into the squad.
Yeah, I think it's competition of places what we need. And Danny, sorry, you're going to say what Glenn?
No, I'm saying someone put, does Leno's contract expire in 2 years? It does. June 2023, apparently.
Oh, I thought it was
I thought it was this year as well. I mean, next summer as well.
So that's why next summer, which we'll sell him, we'll probably get a fee for him.
Oh.
Well,
he means 2023.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's another question in there for you, Karl.
From Neil Gillespie, he says, do we need a new striker in January, as the rumours that will sell and replace Laka? I don't think we're going to sell Laka in January. I think Laka's will stay to the end of his contract, probably go back to France and get a huge signing on fee, as seems to be the norm with football players now, which I don't wrong them. Listen, you play football for a short period of time and you get all the money that you can. So, like I said, it's been nothing more than professional in all this time playing for Arsenal. And you never really see him in the newspapers come out chatting nonsense about he wants more game time. Nothing ever leaks to the press. So, I think it's kind of well known that he is going to leave at the end of the year. Oh, sorry, the end of his contract. And good luck to him. He's been a good player for Arsenal. He's not been brilliant. He's not been bad. He's just been a striker that he's had injury worries, and sometimes his finishing has not been the best. But some of the good things that have come out of Lacazette being there is the partnership with Aubameyang. I think those two, you can tell they're friends on and off the pitch, and they did have a very good partnership. But no, I don't think we're going to need to replace him. But I don't think we'll replace him in January. That's for sure. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with Lacazette as well. I think the player we try and shift that's on his last year is going to be Nketiah in January. I think that's the one. Or sign him to a new deal. It's the only two options I think we really have.
I was going to say,
maybe
because we say to people, you can swear as much as you want in here, but the last couple of shows we've had a couple of hate raids, and so we've had to turn on moderation thing. And so poor old Pete Colton has been swearing like a sailor, and none of his questions have been coming through because we have to go to the actual YouTube feed and then click on accept it. So he did ask some. He said Martial seems to be a target. No, I don't want Martial.
No, definitely not.
And I think there might have been another question from him. He's one of them. Said, "Can we have some?" I don't know why I'm just talking. I was to see. Can we have more ABW after game goodness? Well, if they promise to be good, Josh, then maybe.
And if I can watch all the games, because it seems it's really, is it really? I don't know. Depends if I'm available. It depends who else is available as well. That's the problem with us, is we're all flaky as fuck. Unless North London Derby.
Chris, we need to just lie to Chris and just say, "Oh, Chris, there's a bit of French football in the Premier League," and you'll probably watch it. But you'll see good football and realise it's not the French league, which is the 5th best league in the world, I believe. According to FIFA.
It was 6th because Portugal lost midweek, and then France won some games, and now it's back. But it's basically a real competition between Portugal and France. For who's got the 5th best league in the world. And obviously we're top because, French players, we did all of that performance without a single French player.
Goalkeepers, ABW, the Ferrero Rocher of podcasts, we're spoiled. If Raj would eat us, well, if he ever turned up. He's not been the same since he became a Lord. And Ellis hasn't turned up since he became a Lord either.
No. I was going to ask, was there anything else we're going to cover, or are we going to take our smugness back to Twitter and just wind up some Spurs fans?
Oh, well, of course. I mean, we'll probably cover the Spurs game more in depth and more questions in the midweek podcast, which we'll sort out who's going to be on.
Yeah, Danny, who's on?
Chris won't be on it because we won. He's not interested in it. John will be sobering up. Femi, hopefully, because he was there. Apart from Femi on his own at the moment, I don't know.
Cool. Well, there we go, people. You can enjoy Femi on his own doing a soliloquy, a Bergkamp Wonderland edition. Much like Chris in Conversation with Chris, the hidden episode.
In our chat, people, we have just put in a link there to the Hybrid Squad. They're currently live doing their post-game show, Sophie and Kev, because they now own a 50% share of Josh and a 25% share of Chris. And we're in negotiations to take Ellis on a free transfer. So you can go and click on that link in the YouTube chat, people, and go over there. I'm going to go over there now and go and say hello to them and say we sent them. Not that it really matters because they've got about 8,000 people watching them because they do this shit every week, come rain or shine. We just do it when we want a glory hunt, eh, Josh?
Yep, that's exactly what we said. We were going to go win, lose, or not draw. That's what made ABW come back together in the North London Derby. Karl, do you have any last words for the wonderful listeners?
Just one question I just want to sort of put to you, Josh. What do you think of Tottenham?
Shit.
It's interesting.
I have a question for you, Karl. What do you think of shit?
Tottenham.
Here we go. Danny?
Yes. Shit,
Oh.
Tottenham. Tottenham shit. Fuck
There
you,
we
Harry
go.
Kane. And Dele Alli, you're a mong.
I think
Am I allowed
that is
to say
a
that?
perfect. Yeah, I think
he's-
so.
He's got Mongolian citizenship because he can't play for England anymore because he's shit. There you go. I think I got out of that one. Should I quickly end the show, Josh?
I think we should quickly end the show and say everybody should leave a like and subscribe because who knows when we'll do one of these again. So you need to hit the bell icon and you'll know ABW are glory hunting again. And then we'll be back. Thank you and good night.